Take a listen. This is New York City Mayor Eric Adams.
You say the Democrats don't like to talk about that. Why is that?
Because when you talk about intervention, you have to use the term of giving police officers the tools to deal with violence right now.
That makes a lot of very liberal Democrats a little worried.
Yes, it does.
Because that's Rudy Giuliani language.
Can you believe that? That's Rudy Giuliani language. That's the language of somebody who cleaned up the streets in New York City. So that should be the language of mayors across the country, because it worked before and it can work, and not just in New York City, but so many others. But it was so interesting to hear the liberal media saying, whoa, 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 protect police, because that was basically the essence of that. Support police. Whoa, 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 whoa. And you're going after Black Lives Matter. To his credit, Eric Adams did go after Black Lives Matter. Wouldn't it be nice if more Democratic mayors really call them out? I mean, these are the people that have these mansions all over the place. They have their homes all over the place. Take a listen. Here's a little bit of Eric Adams doing that.
Democrats don't like talking about intervention, but we have to lean into the discomfort of the immediate things we must do, because you can't say Black Lives Matter when a police officer shoots a young person. But does that Black Lives Matter when a 12-year-old baby was shot?
Bravo to Eric Adams for at least bringing that up, guys. And I want to take your calls on that as well after the break. What do you think of Eric Adams' message? And do you think that that is the message of the Democratic Party? Listen, there were a number of them that came forward even on Title 42 on the border and said, this is not a good idea. There seems to be at least a slight trend, not within all of them, because some of them are left-wing loonies, but there seems to be a number of them who are coming forward and saying, hey, listen, we got to protect our borders, even though I think it's an election year, and that's why a lot of them are doing it. But also we're hearing from Mayor Eric Adams saying, you know what, we got to call it out for what it is. We need to protect our police more. And it was funny because Anderson Cooper's like, whoa, wait, did I maybe mishear you? And he's like, no. This is what I said. So I hope he can put some practice into what he's preaching and it not just be verbiage. But I want to hear your thoughts as to if you think it's sincere and do you think it makes a difference. At least it's nice to hear a Democratic mayor at least saying, we need to support police more and give them more tools. He's trying to find a balance between community and policing, but he is at least giving some deference to police and saying that Black Lives Matter needs a big wake-up call. Why aren't some more Democrats doing the same? Why are they scared of Black Lives Matter? What are your thoughts, everybody? 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. And by the way, while we're at it, I want to give a shout out, not just to Mayor Eric Adams, but I want to give a shout out to Elon Musk, because I think it is so great that he has now bought Twitter. That to me is great. And what's so funny is to see the Twitter employees just freaking out like, oh my gosh, what does it mean for free speech? What it means for free speech is that there will be free speech. That's what it means. And it's so funny to see the people that were working at the, oh my gosh, I can't believe Elon Musk is here. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does. If he brings back on President Trump, if he brings back on a whole bunch of people that were blocked or shadow banned or dropped or whatever the case is. I love the fact that he came out today and he already said, listen, even if you don't agree with me or whatever it is, I hope you will stay on the platform because I want it to be truly a free speech platform for all different views. Isn't that what free speech is all about? I don't know why that is so scary to certain people. The idea of free speech suddenly is frightening for some reason to people. But I say bravo to Elon Musk. I think it is fantastic. Former President Trump, by the way, said he has no intention of rejoining Twitter. Remember, they banned him and his millions upon millions of followers. But it'll be interesting because he has his own Truth Social platform. But what do you think? Do you think he'll come back? And what do you think it means for the future of Twitter? And do you think now the floodgates will open? Can you imagine what are they going to do? Try to create sort of a whole new Twitter or a whole new other thing? I love the fact that they're going, I can't believe this. I can't believe free speech is coming into place. Who would ever have been scared of free speech? 1-800-848-9222, 9222. Here's a little bit of Brian Stelter on CNN talking about Elon Musk.
I think that's an example of a broader question for Twitter, which is, if you get invited to something where there are no rules, where there is total freedom for everybody, do you actually want to go to that party? Or are you going to decide to stay home? And that's a question for Twitter users. Some Twitter users might love the idea that there's going to be absolutely no moderation and no rules at all. Others might not want to be anywhere near that. Am I crazy, Matt?
No, you're right. And what happens to the advertising? I mean, if there's no moderation or little moderation, do the advertisers stay away? What does that do to the business prospects for Twitter itself?
Unbelievable. Like, oh my God, now it's going to be with, now other people are going to be included in this? God forbid in free speech that happens. Well, we are talking now about Russia, Ukraine, and some big developments in the last few days as finally some folks from the Biden administration got a set of cojones and finally went in to Kyiv. First of all, we've seen already Boris Johnson from the UK. We've seen two leaders from Poland, from my beloved Poland. Of course, my father from Poland. We saw the president and the prime minister of Poland go at separate times. We've seen leaders from other countries go in as well and meet with Zelensky. My goodness, Zelensky even did a press conference the other day at a train station underground because there's not a lot of places that are safe for him. But he had a whole slew of reporters over the weekend. And so finally, members of the administration went, not Biden, he didn't go, but we did see Lloyd Austin and we did see Secretary of State Blinken. So I'm glad that they went. They should have gone a long time ago. It would have sent a message. And also, if you listen to them, listen to their language. This is really interesting because they've been very kind of tepid to say, well, we want to make sure we give Ukraine what it needs. We want to do this. But they really weren't really clear about who they wanted to win. They were almost afraid to say that they want Ukraine to win and they want Putin to lose. Well, now finally, after going into Kyiv and talking to Zelensky, and now how it is 2 months, we're at the 2-month mark. I mean, this is amazing that this war has gone on and just the brutal attacks by Russia on the people of Ukraine. Finally, we're getting a little bit of clarity, if you will, from administration officials, because now they're saying that Ukraine has the fight and the will to win, and we should have given them weapons at the beginning. I get so angry because we should have given them weapons at the very beginning. It probably would have averted the war had we sent in also NATO troops at the border in the NATO countries right there on Ukraine's border. Think about the message that would have sent to Putin. But now, finally, they're trying to get at least a little tougher, at least verbally, and they are sending more military might, not the MiGs yet, but take a listen. Here, at least, is Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin and his assessment of where the situation's going.
In terms of their ability to win, the first step in winning is believing that you can win. And so they believe that we can win. We believe that we can win. They can win if they have the right equipment, the right support. And we're going to do everything we can, continue to do everything we can.
I still would like to hear a little more assertiveness. Wouldn't you guys, when you hear it? It's still kind of like a little mamsy-pamsy. It needs to be a little clearer, but it is a little bit more strident and a little more structured and a little more supportive of Ukraine than I've heard. They seem to always kind of say, well, you know, Russia's doing this and Ukraine's doing that and we're giving this and it's like, no, we want Ukraine to win. We want to kick Putin out. Finally, they got at least a little more clear with that. And here's a little more of what Lloyd Austin said about what we need to give them.
Our focus in the meeting was to talk about those things that would enable us to win the current fight and also build for tomorrow. And again, a very productive discussion.
And finally, Secretary of State Tony Blinken said what we wanted to hear 2 months ago. Take a listen.
We don't know how the rest of this war will unfold, but we do know that a sovereign, independent Ukraine will be around a lot longer than Vladimir Putin's on the scene. And our support for Ukraine going forward will continue. It will continue until we see final success.
So that was at least a little bit better. Why has it taken this administration so long to say we want Ukraine to win. We want Putin to be out of Ukraine, and Putin won't be around. They're still kind of dancing around the verbiage, but at least they're getting a little bit closer. But how do you read the comments from Lloyd Austin and Secretary of State Blinken? And by the way, just coming in a few minutes ago, Pope Francis, who was scheduled to meet with the Russian Orthodox Patriarch, has now said that he has dropped plans to meet with the Patriarch in June. This is the Russian Orthodox Patriarch, who is the leader of the Russian Orthodox Church. And he says that he does not feel that it would be a good idea. They've suspended the plan because he said it could lend itself to much confusion at this moment. That is the phrasing from the Pope, saying that he does not plan to meet with the Russian Orthodox Patriarch, who, of course, is head of the Orthodox Church there in Russia. I'm not one to sort of go after religious leaders, but I'm going to go after this Orthodox Patriarch because this guy is nuts. He has backed Moscow's war in Ukraine. And to me, over the weekend, there was this one moment that I had a pit in my stomach. I was watching Vladimir Putin. There he is at the service for Orthodox Easter, and there he is doing the sign of the cross, talking, sitting there in church, knowing that this Eastern Orthodox Russian patriarch, again, there's different patriarchs. There's a Greek one, not the Greek one, but the Russian one, has come out in support of Vladimir Putin and his war in Ukraine. What kind of a patriarch and religious leader are you that you're supporting the slaughter of innocent civilians? He has not come out and condemned anything that Vladimir Putin has done. And if there's anybody who might be able to have some sort of an impact on Vladimir Putin, you would think the leader of the Russian Orthodox Church maybe could have a bearing. And there he is. There's Vladimir Putin over the weekend, sitting there in the church doing the sign of the cross, acting like he's a religious man and a man of faith and a man, what about thou shalt not kill? Think about all the different commandments. There he is. And then we've got the head of the Russian Orthodox Church saying he supports the war and he supports Putin. To me, that is outrageous. And yes, the Pope is trying to make a difference. I wish the Pope would even do more to try to bring all the sides together and cause an end to it. But if there's anybody who might be able to have some sort of significance on Vladimir Putin, you would think it would be the Russian Orthodox Patriarch. And instead, he is supporting Putin in his brutal assault of the Ukrainian people. Does anybody understand that and understand why he is doing that? We talked about it actually earlier, I remember, and I was thinking about, people were saying, well, is he maybe afraid to speak out? Most people believe that he would not go after the Eastern Orthodox leader of the Russian church because there are too many followers, in Russia, that would not be, it wouldn't be like, maybe a general he could, quote, dispose of, but they don't necessarily, he would, go after the, leader of the Eastern Orthodox Church. But doesn't he have a responsibility as a religious leader? He should say, get the heck out of the church. What are you doing here in church? You're slaughtering innocent women and children. And why is he not coming out and condemning Vladimir Putin? Maybe he might be able to cause a meeting and cause a truce, do something. Why is he sitting? How dare this religious leader? I can't believe it that he is sitting here supporting the war on Ukraine. And I was just sitting there watching Vladimir Putin in church with his lip kind of moving. People are wondering if there's Parkinson's or something else, but he's just sitting there and I'm going, are you kidding me? You're sitting there in church acting like you're holier than thou. You've got the head of the Eastern Orthodox Church there, the Russian patriarch, sitting there supporting your war. Isn't there something really wrong with this picture?